All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. This is going to be a lesson, pretty much going into how don't be surprised if your family betray you, man. Alright, if your family and your friends betray you, alright, and really, it's so-called family and friends, man, because we already know according to the Bible who our real family is, man. Alright, our real family are those that believe in the Lord, man. Alright, our real family are those that believe in the Lord, and the scriptures say clearly that only those that are selected, man, are gonna escape the judgments to come. And let me prove that. Alright? Let me prove that quickly. Because it is true that the scriptures say that we can save our family, right? But really, it's because our family was of the elect. You see? We can't make anyone be of the elect. Our families really, if they receive salvation in that day, they really already was of the elect. This is Ezekiel chapter 14 and verse 19. In fact, Ezekiel chapter 14 and I'll go to verse 20. In fact, you know what? Let me go up a bit. Ezekiel chapter 14 and verse 10. And they shall bear the punishment of their iniquity. The punishment of the prophet shall be even as the punishment of him that seeketh unto him, that the house of Israel may know, that the house of Israel may go no more astray from me, neither be polluted any more with all their transgressions, but that they may be my people, and I may be their God, saith the Lord Yahweh. The word of Yahweh came again to me, saying, Son of man, when the land sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out mine hand upon it, and will break the staff of bread thereof, and will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it. And the nation of Israel sinned right now, right? And Yahweh is slowly cutting off the staff of bread from it. He's breaking the staff of bread, right? He's making the fuel prices go more high. So that's causing people to be like, damn, those food prices are mighty high right now. So then they're running off and they're prepping, right? Now some people have still got their head in the clouds and they ain't thinking about that, right? Some people are still clowns and they don't think about that. And women in particular, they can't see more than like, I don't know what kind of disease they have in their brains, man, but they can't really even see more than 2 weeks into the future a lot of the time, right? They just travel from one fun experience to another fun experience. So they're going to be some of the main people that are going to be in this particular point that I'm making here. Verse 14, though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job were in it, they should deliver but their own souls by their righteousness. So if Yahweh, so only those people that actually did some kind of works and had some kind of faith are going to escape out of certain situations, right? And that's the same thing when the day of the Lord comes, really. It's going to be because if our family gets saved in that time, it's going to be because they was really of the elect in their faith. Their moment of showing their faith was going to be maybe they did something during that time, right? But really, nobody that's not of the elect can receive salvation, and we can't make anybody be of the elect because the elect was chosen from the foundation of the world, man. And like, I'm not necessarily going to go too much more into this chapter. Let me go just read. I want to just read this bit as well. It says, verse 20, though Noah, Daniel, and Job were in it, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, they shall deliver neither son nor daughter, but they shall deliver their own souls by their righteousness. For thus saith Yahweh, how much more when I will send my 4 sore judgments upon Jerusalem, the sword and famine and noisome beast, and the pestilence to cut off from it man and beast. Yet behold, there shall be left a remnant that shall be brought forth, both sons and daughters. Behold, they shall come forth unto you, and ye shall see their way and their doings, and ye shall be comforted concerning the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem, even concerning all that I have brought upon it. Because I heard some brothers say this, man, and it was a very beautiful way of explaining it. He pretty much said that there's certain he was saying it in this kind of way, like the certain lineages and the certain seed lines of the nation of Israel that are going to be completely exterminated off the earth, man. And that's true, right? Because the nation of Israel, the remnant, right, the elect of the nation of Israel is going to become now, that's the new standard of what it is to be an Israelite, right? All the Israelite men and women that are wicked are going to be destroyed in the day of the Lord, right? And all the Israelites that are of the elect, they're going to remain in the day of the Lord, and they're going to be changed. They're going to be altered, right? They're going to be changed. They're going to receive. They're going to be ameliorated, right? Let me use that word, ameliorated, man. They're going to have their wicked ways changed into righteous ways, and they're going to become the new standard of what Israelite is for the whole world to see. Let me read this verse again. Verse 22. Yet behold, they shall be left a remnant that shall be brought forth, both sons and daughters. Behold, they shall come forth unto you, and ye shall see their way and their doings, and ye shall be comforted concerning the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem, even concerning all that I have brought upon it. So when we're seeing these wicked Israelites getting murked off, man, right? Getting completely destroyed, stomped into the ground, destroyed. Esau comes by with the sword and just slays them. We're gonna be sad in that time, man, because we're not wicked, man, and we don't really we've seen our people, and we've heard about the slavery that our people have went through. But we haven't seen, like, we've seen it in movies, right? Yahweh's made people make these movies so that we can see it on the film, but we haven't really seen it in real life. We haven't seen the evil that high level of evil be performed on our people in real life. And a lot of times we say we're gonna be like stone cold regarding seeing this stuff, but we're people that have a heart, man. We're people that have a conscience. So some of it that we're gonna see, we're gonna be like, damn, man, that's messed up, but we're still gonna harden our face to not have mercy upon these people, because when the word was going out, they didn't want to hear. Right? And 1 second, Salakia. All right, I'm back. I'm gonna carry on what I was reading. This is Ezekiel chapter 14 and verse 22. Yet behold, there shall be left a remnant that shall be brought forth, both sons and daughters. Behold, they shall come forth unto you, and ye shall see their way and their doings, and ye shall be comforted concerning the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem, even concerning all that I have brought upon it. And they shall comfort you when ye see their ways and their doings, and ye shall know that I have done, and ye shall know that I have done, not done without cause, all that I have done in it, saith Yahweh. So when we're seeing these Israelites getting completely exterminated and rooted out from our nation, man, right? And they're gonna have to be born again, literally, through one of the Israelites that get saved. So they're gonna now become part of a man that gets destroyed. He's gonna now become part of the lineage of a man that made it, right? But he's not gonna have his own lineage anymore. That he is saying, "Oh, okay, I'm part of this line." He's gonna now be a part of the lineage of a man that made it, right? Because he's wicked on his own, so he's gonna be born again into the lineage through a man that made it. He's gonna become a son of one of the men of the elect. That's what's gonna happen, man. The scriptures say all Israel gonna be saved, but some of them are gonna have to receive it on the second go round, man. And now the purpose of this lesson is, don't be surprised if some of our family or friends betray us in that day, man, because they are like, well, the stuff that this man said was gonna happen is true. He said that this chaos stuff was gonna happen, but I also remember hearing that some of these prepper channels said it. So how do I really know that is what he said is going to happen, or what this prepper channel said was going to happen. That's what some of these people are going to think. They're not going to believe that you, that's just might be their cousin, or might be their boyfriend, or might be their son, or might be their brother, can really have predicted that this stuff was going to happen. They're not going to really believe that, man. A lot of them are not going to really believe that. They're going to say, nah, because he can't be special, because I know him. And I know when he didn't think like this. I know when he might have just been into sports. I know when he might have just been about going and trying to chase after the ladies. I know when he was just all about getting haircuts. You know, I know when he was all about trying to wear the fanciest clothes. They're not going to want to believe that you had something within you that predicted this. They were not going to believe that you heard spiritually the voice of Yahweh, and he told you to prepare for these things to come. This is Luke chapter 21 and verse 12. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And people say, oh, that's talking about the past. Well, don't the scriptures say there's no new thing under the sun? Don't history repeat itself? So it happened once, and the day of the Lord is going to be worse than any other time. So it's going to happen again. Facts. It's definitely going to happen again. There's going to be people that are going to have heard that you believed in the real doctrine. They're going to have heard that you said certain things, and they're going to be like, hang on, he said that. And they're not going to make that. That's not going to make them think, okay, he said that, so let me try and repent and follow what he said. They're going to be like, man, he said that, so he must be evil too, like what they're saying about all these other people. And they're going to try and betray you, a lot of these people, man. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and the rulers for my name's sake, and it shall turn to you for a testimony. So all it's going to do is further push out the word when these things happen. And it's not going to be the man that gets taken or that woman that gets taken in that day that's going to really be the one that's talking and giving that testimony. It's going to be Yahweh Bar Shem Yahweh Shai that's going to give that testimony. Verse 14, settle it therefore in your hearts not to meditate what ye shall answer before, because that's what they do in the court, man. In the court, they do it. They prepare their notes. They prepare their evidence. Look at, Your Honor, I'd like to mention case 21X. Objection. Leading. Objection, Your Honor. This. Objection. That's how they try and, like for an example, that whole Amber Heard thing that went on. That's all they kept doing, man. Objection this. Objection that. Objection, Your Honor. He's trying to do this. Objection, Your Honor. He's trying to do that. But the whole thing was pretty much just a joke, man. Right? Verse 15. They had everything planned. And if anything veered off to the side and they didn't have an answer a lot of the time, man. Especially her. Verse 15. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And we've already got mouths that they can't gainsay nor resist. Right? Like a certain of our family members, when we told them certain thing was going to happen, they was like, man, shut up. They was thinking in their mind, man, shut up, man. And some of them probably said it for real. Right? Some people's family probably thought that they was crazy and tried to get them sectioned. Right? Some people's family thought that they had a demon on them and tried to throw pot boiling water on them. Some people's family tried to give them an intervention, sitting or sitting down on the wooden sofas, on the wooden chairs, and on the sofa when they come in. Come down, come and sit in the house, man. We want to talk to you about something. They were thinking that we was tapped. They're thinking, man, he's gone crazy as hell. They're thinking, how can you know more than the Christian church? You're trying to tell me that you know the Bible better than the Christian church without no paperwork on it. As if Yahweh Shai had paperwork. As if his disciples had paperwork to understand about that. Yahweh Shai was the word. So why would the word need an education on the word when the word is him? It's ridiculous. verse 16. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinsfolk and friends, and some of you they shall cause to be put to death. So let's say they're looking for, they take brothers and they bring them to their prisons or whatever, and or they bring them before the courts and before the judges, right? And then they're like, Your Honor, we're going to be bringing in the next witness, right? And then a witness is coming through, and I'm laughing, but this ain't going to be funny when it happens, right? When these particular things happen, it ain't going to be funny. And they're bringing in witnesses. Your Honor, I'd like to bring in my first witness, and that witness is your mama or something. The witness is your mom, right? Or I always knew that my son was going a bit crazy. The moment he started watching them YouTube videos, it's not good. I'm laughing, but it ain't going to be funny in that time, man. He kept saying that the church is telling the doctrine wrong, and I was like, oh, son, you sure about this? But he was like, yep. And he was saying that there's Edomites and there's wicked people. He was talking about UFOs. He was talking about being changed and having a full beard and living forever. He was just talking a bunch of nonsense, and I tried to warn him and I tried to tell him, Your Honor, but he just wouldn't buckle down. That's what our family are going to be saying. They're going to be thinking that we're tapped, man. This world already thinks that we're crazy. Like, really, you've got all these Christians, a lot of them, that they try and say that they're about the Bible, right? But they don't really believe that a man walked on water, right? They don't really believe that a man turned water to wine. They don't really believe that a man was resurrected after 3 days. They don't really believe that, because when they hear us talk about, let's say that we believe that the UFOs that everyone sees in this world is related to, is connected to God, right? A lot of them don't believe that. They were like, man, what are you talking about? A lot of them can't even believe that the government would make it mandatory to take a device into your body, either your hand or your forehead, that can also be used for payments, but then also can be used to track you. They don't believe that can be made mandatory as a pledge of allegiance to this wicked society and this wicked kingdom. People don't believe that. Even though they've seen evidence of it happen in the last 2 years. Really, in the last 2.25 years or 2.5 years, they saw something like that happen with other thing in this world. And a lot of people have took it, and now they're having some weird looking tapeworm things growing inside of them, man, that are of the consistency of an elastic band. And they're getting these weird long tube things growing inside of them. What's that? What's that about? But that's a whole nother topic. Verse 21. Luke chapter 21 and verse 16 again. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents. All right, so your own parents might become a witness against you in that day. Your Honor, bringing in witness number 2, right? And it's your father, right? And he's just looking at you, disappointed, shaking his head like, I never thought you'd become this. Man, you have to laugh about these things, because if you didn't laugh about these things, you'd cry, man. Because the thought of being betrayed by your own father is more hurtful than being betrayed by your own mother, man. Right? But if you're a brother that didn't have or had your father around for a short time, right? And then he was raised by your mom, he might have been tired of her. She might have been just like, I'd rather dwell in the house with a lion and a dragon than dwell in the house with a contentious woman. So that might be the reason why some brothers' fathers ain't around, right? You might have just never known him. Whatever the reason was. But being betrayed by your parent in general is going to be harsh. But your father in particular, man, is even more, to a certain degree. It's even more harsh, man. Because we've had our minds rerouted to know that the father is more precious than the mother. Because the father is definitely of your actual lineage. The mother's not. The mother could be a heathen. The mother could literally not even be of your nation, but she's still your mother. And that's why when people say this stuff like, oh, this person's mom's an Edomite or this person's mom are that, but to that person, it's just their mom though. They ain't viewing their mom that highly, and their mom being of a particular nation doesn't mean that a whole nation that's done evil to the Israelites is going to escape judgment. Because maybe, let's say a million Israelites' moms was Edomites, right? Which is probably way more than that is. The men themselves or the women themselves are still Israelites. And that doesn't change the judgments that God wrote that he's going to give to the Edomites. None of those million are going to be able to tell God, oh, but my mom's an Edomite. If you find one righteous, if you find 50 righteous Edomites among the Edomites, will you save the nation for their sakes? That's not going to happen like it did with Sodom and Gomorrah. And really, Yahweh made it go all the way down to 5 and said, if there's 5 righteous among Sodom and Gomorrah, I'll save it. And there wasn't even 5. There was just Lot. That's it. And that whole place got destroyed, man. Only 3 people escaped out of that. And 2 of them were wicked. And that's why they did what they did to their father and made Moab and Ammon be born. This is verse 16 again. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinsfolk and friends. And that's going to hurt a lot of people as well. And their friend, man. Right? There used to be the dream team running around getting the honeys in the past. Where they used to just be so smooth with it. They were so cold. If you was down on a couple of bucks, if you was down a few quid, right? If you needed a couple of dollars, he'd help you, right? I don't know, wherever brothers might, if you needed a few rubles, there might be some brothers in Russia or whatever. If you needed a few, what's another income, man? I don't really know that many different currency names, to be honest with you. So let me leave it there. But if you needed something, he gave it you. He might betray you in that day and become a witness against you to try and make you look crazy. But all it's going to do anyway is make all the people that try and come up against you look stupid, because it's going to be Yahweh that's going to be answering and justifying what's happening that day. It's not going to be you yourself. Yahweh is going to speak to them through you like he already is, right? Yahweh already speaks to this world through men. Yahweh ain't came down from the heavens to speak to these people. They'd be terrified if he did that. Verse 17, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. So you've got a lot of these people out here that they want to try and say that the Lord's all of these different names, right? Some people want to say Jesus. Some people want to say EA, which I don't know where the hell they got that one from. Some people want to say Jehovah. Some people want to say that Jesus is God, which all of that is BS, right? Because how can a father be the son? When you go to Proverbs chapter 13:4, it clearly says what is his name and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell, letting you know that God's got a son. Verse 17, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but there shall not a hair of your head perish. So we're going to be hated. They're going to be loads of people standing around. They're going to want to do something, but they're not going to be given the power to do something. They're just going to be there to look at you, man. They just might be shouting at you. You might be in your house, and they might just be all lined up outside the front of your gate, shouting at you. You damn criminal. Running off at the mouth, foaming at the gums, frothing at the mouth, wanting to try and come and do something, but there's going to be a force field there in some of these situations, man, and they're not going to be able to breach that, man. And they're going to be able to sense that if there was to try and breach that force field, that an angel or that some kind of unseen force is keeping them away from it, man. Just like how the angels protected Lot from those wicked men of Sodom. Right? Those wicked men of Sodom couldn't do nothing, man. They wanted to so bad, but their evil eyes got blinded, man. Let me carry on this. Verse 18, but there shall not an hair of your head perish. In your patience possess ye your souls. So in that time, we're going to be patient, man. We ain't going to see some carnal situation stir up and we get into a boxing stance, or we start doing the capoeira dance, you know, which I don't know if anybody can do capoeira, but I wouldn't recommend doing that, brother. If you can do some capoeira, I would leave it, man. Which obviously the spirit's going to decide what happens anyway, but in that time, we ain't going to be carnal. We're going to just be, Yahweh's going to pull it on us if we're of the elect to do the right thing in that time. And every single situation, we're going to be reacting in it the right way. Verse 19, in your patience possess ye your souls. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Now that's not. Let me go back to the scripture, verse 15 again. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay, nor resist. And that's what's going to happen, man. The words that are going to be coming out, pouring out of brothers' mouths in that day, these people aren't going to be able to say nothing. They're going to look stupid in that day, man. But the point I'm making is that don't be surprised if our families and our friends betray us, or they run away, or they flee from us in no times of the day of the Lord, man. Because the day of the Lord is going to be a day of darkness and not light. It's going to be a day that no one's ever seen upon the earth. It's going to be a time of evil, so great a evil that nobody's ever seen nothing like this before. So anything that people are going to have read about in the history books, they're going to see that, but then they're going to see worse than that too, right? Because there's not, like what the stuff that's happening now, people say, oh, it's unprecedented, it's never happened before, and stuff like that. People have seen people be like that. People have seen the fuel price rise before. People are kind of used to seeing that. You know what I mean? That people might say, oh, it hasn't rose to this price or that price before, but people have seen it happen before. That's the point. People have seen that. But there's certain things that people have not seen. People have not seen a lion come out of the woods into a residential area and start beating off doors and climb into people's houses. They haven't seen that happen, right? They haven't seen, and somebody might say, well, I have seen it happen. Well, you haven't seen it happen on a continual basis then. You haven't seen the animal's intelligence increase to where the animal's like pick locking your door with its fingernail, right? And just climbs into your house. We're hungry as hell. You ain't seen that. And God could make this kind of stuff really terrifying, man, because he could be like, make the lion start talking to you, saying, I've got a message from the Lord for you. Tackle. And then just try and, he could do anything, man. But like I said again, don't be surprised if our family and friends betray us in that day, man. Don't be surprised at all, man. Because people love Egypt and they love the chariots because they are many. This is Isaiah chapter 31 and verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh. Yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. So there's people that work iniquity, right? But they got help. They're actually made to be bold in what they're doing, man. There's a few people. I'll explain a few. There's a few people that have hijacked the meaning of the rainbow, right? And they're very fluorescent in their ways, right? And they have I heard Coach Red Pill say this, that guy Gonzalo Lira, which he's very intelligent on the whole war and all this stuff, and he said he used a very nice way of explaining these people. He said that they have a distinct nasal twang, right? They have a distinct nasal twang, and he's right. A lot of these people that have hijacked the rainbow, right, and they're very fluorescent in their ways, right? They have a surplus of sugar in the tank that most people do not have, right? They're at a sugary surplus, right? They have a distinct nasal twang, right? And the women among that doctrine normally have a haircut that you would normally find on a fella or on a lad, right? But these people are not going to be helped in that day. These people have been helped to work iniquity, but they ain't going to get no help no more. Because they ran to the people that allowed them to be able to fulfill their sins. But those people are going to be destroyed. This is verse 3. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horse is flesh and not spirit. When Yahweh shall stretch forth his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall. So Esau, who's helping everybody in the world right now to commit their sins, he's going to fall. And he that is helping, meaning those that are helped, right? Those that are, what you're doing ain't wicked. It's not a sin. That's what they're telling them. They're saying it's not a sin. The Bible's old. That's the old way. That was in Bible times. Things have changed now. Those are those that are hoping. So the adulterers, the murderers, all these people that get their sins justified, right? They're not gonna receive it, man. They're gonna be getting destroyed. But a lot of our family are gonna run to this help. Some of them are gonna run to it, man. They're not gonna be able to handle not being able to do the things that they can do now, even. So don't be surprised if our family and friends betray us, man. And this is a message to myself too. Because we're gonna have to have a strong spirit, man, to be able to handle that rejection that our family might give us in the worst time ever, because they're gonna be like, man, I don't trust you to be able to get through this situation. So let's say a brother might have a woman, right? And you yourself might be like, what's the average height? The average height is like, let's say the average height. You're 5'9", right? And what's the average weight? Let's say 13 stone, 14 stone. So you're 5'9" as a man, you're 13, 14 stone, right? And then your woman's there, but your woman stumbles upon you and your woman and your family, whatever, you see some guy that's some carnal, big 6'5" juggernaut that looks like he could just fold up and that he could bend rocks with his hands, right? Your woman's gonna start looking at him like he's more of a secure place for you, for what's going on to a certain degree, because the heavenly thing, you might have not yet received the heavenly escapes out of certain situations. So she might be like, you know what, forget this guy, I'm going with this guy. And she might try and play it off in the first, baby, we should follow him. He said he's got food, right? And then you'll be looking at her sideways like, man, what's this bitch talking about, man? But you might play along with it for a time, and then the next thing you know, she's rejected your ass, and she's trying to move off and trying to run off with him, and she's like running flayed with him in the nighttime while you was both asleep somewhere. You might have been in an abandoned house, and then all three went to sleep, separate rooms, and then she wakes up and she's fled with that guy. That was just Yahweh getting rid of some of the chaff from you, man. Loosening your bags so that you don't have much of a heavy burden on you. But in that time, you might be sour, man. You might be hurt from that. Verse 3, now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horse is flesh and not spirit. When Yahweh shall stretch forth his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they shall fall together. So they're all gonna fall. Your woman that would have fell in that time. My woman, if it was my woman that does it, would have fell in that time. Your child will have fell in that time. Your brother will have fell in that time. Your daughter, your sister, your uncle, your aunt, your cousin, your niece, your nephew. They're going to have fell in that time because they didn't trust what you were saying. And they was trusting what Egypt's saying. Oh, I've heard they got some food in them FEMA camps. We should go down there. Nah, I don't think we should go down there, babies, because they might be trying to put the thing in, man, and that. Right? But they're going to be like, nah, I think we should. Because as far as I can see, you haven't got any food. You haven't manned up in this situation. So I'm leaving. And I'm either going with you or without you. Now, yeah, excuse my bad acting skills, right? But that kind of thing is going to happen, man, to somebody. And I'm not laughing at the brother that it's going to happen to, because it could happen to me, right? But ultimately, if we're of the elect, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, man. You see what I mean? It doesn't really matter, because all that stuff is being done to purge us and make us really be prepared for the evils ahead, man. Right? Now, I think I've made the point, man. I'm going to end the lesson there, but the point is, don't be surprised if our families and friends and kinfolk and parents betray us in the wrath to come, man, because they're not going to be able to, if they ain't got the spirit, they ain't going to be able to handle the things that are coming upon the earth. And only those men that are truly rooted in the word of the Lord are going to be able to handle these things. Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6. And thy wisdom and thy knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. So because you've been building up your fear of Yahweh for a long time, a lot of your family have not been doing that. So in the time when you was fighting against demons, fighting against spirits, fighting against the evil lust within your flesh, your family was given into all of that. So they're going to be having a withdrawal of not doing those things in that time. Whereas you're going to have already been away from those things for maybe a year plus. And there is certain people that he says are going to be delivered in the last times, in the final hours. But there's also people that are going to turn away in that time too. Because Yahweh deals with balance. And I'm going to end the lesson there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Makar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.